Welcome to Kingdom Business Fellowship. Thank you guys for coming. Pastor Eric and Pastor Rodney and some of the team, a smaller team, are in Chicago tonight. And I believe they're there tonight and tomorrow, meeting with some pastors and churches and holding a meeting about the meeting that's going to be coming up in August. And do we know those dates yet? August 6th through the 10th. We're going to storm Chicago and take it. So he's rented a big stadium there. I don't know if we have anything to show about that. If not, that's okay. And so it's going to be like it was in Cape Town, like it was in London. God said Chicago. So that's they're over there planning now. And I used to actually live in Chicago back in the day when I was like this tall. And only remember good things. But anyway, yeah, so they're there. Pastor Eric sends his love, and tonight's going to be kind of a fun night. I get asked this question the most, right? So who here is a business veteran? Would you consider yourself a veteran in business? You've done this for a while, you know what you're doing. Okay, great. Who here's in business now but recently? Again. Okay, and who here is about to start a business? Okay, perfect. So we have a wide spectrum of people here. So I want to first address the veterans. There was a world-renowned football coach, and I believe it was Lombardi. I'm not a sports person. But he was famous for his team would win. They would win the Super Bowl, and then they'd give it a week of, okay, everyone rest, celebrate, and we're starting training again for next year. And he would walk into the locker room holding a football. And he would start, "Gentlemen, this is a football," to a team that had just won the Super Bowl. "It's made of pigskin leather, it weighs this much, it's this long, you hold it like this." And he would start every year training the most basic basics. Here's how you catch, here's how you throw, here's how you run, here's how you fall, here's how you crash or tackle. And so because of that, though, because he would always bring it back to basics, it was, he had the most winning team. I think he was known as the winningest coach, right, in football. Like, his teams won the most times. And it was always because of that, bringing it back to basics. So tonight, we're starting at the very basics of business. This is a football. So the veterans in here, I might actually call on you. Raise your hands again. Okay, just to get some advice from an expert. But in that... The class really is starting a business of the first steps. So I get asked this question the most of all questions I get asked, to the point where my wife hears me explaining it for hours, like every other day on the phone. She's like, "You need to record a video. Just make a video on how to do it. And then when people ask, you can send them to the video." Okay, so we're going to quick jump to the people who've been in business for a while. I had a business coach that once told me, "Tony, one of the keys to being able to grow in business beyond yourself is anytime you have to answer a question, answer it for the last time once and for all." I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" So in one of my businesses, we do shipping, and international shipping is way more complicated than shipping to Georgia. You have papers and documents and certificates of origin and import papers and export papers and SLIs and all these things that have to go with it. And every country has different rules, but for the most part, they're kind of the same. And so, but we wouldn't ship international that often. You'd ship 20 things in the country and then one out. And then 20, 30 things in the country, 6 months later, one out. And so we just kind of figured it out each time as we went. Well, then realizing that every time an international shipping had to happen, people were coming to me, "What documents do we need again? How do we fill this out?" And that's where, when my business instructor at the time said, "Tony, when someone asks you a question, it takes a lot longer to answer it, but stop everything, spend however much time it takes, and answer it for the last time ever." So we would stop, we would make our notes. Okay, international shipping, we made the document, P&P for policy and procedure. P&P, international shipping. Step 1. Print 3 copies of the original invoice. Step 2, stamp the original invoice with the original stamp. Step 3, sign the original invoice with a blue Sharpie marker. 4, make sure the blue Sharpie marker soaked through so you can see it on the back, because there's nothing worse than somebody in Dubai at customs saying, we don't think this is an original, please overnight us an original, and we're charging you $500 a day while this sits here while we're waiting for your original, and your original takes 3 days to get there, and and they knew it wasn't original. This is how they make fees. So you learn these little things, and we put all of our steps in place. 3 months later, my guy who's been with me for years, hey, how do we do international shipping again? Server, international shipping. That was the answer. They were able to go in the computer, pull up P&P, international shipping, follow all the steps, 3 copies of this, 3 copies of that, 4 copies of this, 9 copies of this, 6 of these, 2 emailed here. The whole thing, they get stuck on the crates on this side, this side, this side, this side, and it was all done. And then I was really never asked again for years how to do international shipping. So in that's why I'm doing this video. This is a answer the question once and for all for the last time kind of video. So when people say, hey, how do I start a business again? How do I get my incorporation? I have this great name. What do you think? So we're going to actually walk through some of those beginning steps. And it's funny, when I've taught on business, either in Kingdom Business Fellowships or even outside of Kingdom Business Fellowship, not that you ever speak to wow people. That was another thing I learned. You don't speak so people are like, wow, he's so smart. Otherwise, that's useless. You want to speak to people to help them actually. That's who's going to remember what you've helped them with. And so in that, it's been interesting. Like, I'll speak to a big group of business people on something that's extremely complicated and higher level, level 10 business, not level 1 business, and it'll go a certain way. But when I get in there and I speak on the most basic, kindergarten level, simplest business thing, that's when these veteran business owners who've owned businesses for years come up, wow, that was so good, so good. You're right. We do need to focus on calling our customers back. Little things, the little simple things that as business grows and we get more and more complicated, we forget the simple things. And I've been guilty of that too. But tonight we're talking on the simple things. So Heavenly Father God, thank you so much, Lord, that you are here to guide us, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Holy Spirit, speak through me, Lord. Let every single person here get what they need. Let those who are watching this video in the future, Lord, let this be a help to them, because we are all here for the same purpose, that is for the expansion of your kingdom and the spreading of your gospel to everyone, every creature on earth. In Jesus' name, amen. So, if you had a title, it's called Starting Your Business, The First Steps. And I'm going to make a couple assumptions here. The first assumption is you already know what you want to do. The other question I get is like, I want to start a business. What should I do? I can't answer that for you. You're going to have to at least already know what it is you want to do. And how you're going to do it, and can you do it? That's the other thing. Is this something you could actually do? So I'm going to assume that the business that we're talking about starting is something you already know what and how you're going to do it, right? Okay. So Mitch, like you're talking about starting a business that's going to be fixing and flipping houses. You know how to fix and flip houses already, and you know how to buy a house because you've been in that world. So if you don't know anything, going back to my business coach that I had years and years ago, anytime I'd ask him a question or about to do something new, he would answer this: well, Tony, it's time to learn some stuff. And I'm like, you're right, it's time to learn some stuff. So always kind of keep that in your head, no matter what you're doing in business. It's time to learn some stuff, and it's okay to take time to learn some stuff, and it doesn't matter how dumb the stuff is. Who here knows what DocuSign is? You ever see DocuSign? Okay. Oh, you got one and you had to click the thing and sign with your finger, right? Okay. I've done that. I've opened the DocuSign, clicked the thing, drew my finger, done. Yay. Okay. I've never done it the other side of DocuSign. Creating the document, uploading it into the software, putting all the fields and how and when and all that. I had never touched DocuSign in my life from that side. Last week was a week of up every night till 3:30 or 4 in the morning, every single night, and up at 7 a.m., and bed at 3:30, and up at 7:30, and bed at 4:30 up, and like, what are you doing? I have 17 sales agreements that have to go out, and I told the client, you'll have them this evening, and it's 5, and then I log in, and I don't know anything about this software or program or how to do it, and there's not much help on it. I mean, I could watch hours and hours of YouTube, but that wasn't going to cut it. And I'm like, okay, as long as I get this to them before they wake up, I technically did it this evening. So in that, you sit there and you learn, and you have to go learn some stuff. I couldn't call friends at 2:30 in the morning. I almost did. Daniel, help! But it wasn't going to help me have all the documents done that night. And so I can now say I'm not a master at DocuSign, but I'm enough to be dangerous. I can make documents, I can put them out, I can put in the fields and create the little drop-down boxes and the yes and the no's and the whole thing. It was time to go learn some stuff. So in that, as we're going, and we're going through this, there's going to be certain things that you can stop and pause, and it's okay to stop and go learn some stuff. But let's assume you already know what it is you're going to do. And so a couple of you raised your hands that you're about to start a business. So Jessica, you said you guys are about to start a cleaning company. Who else had raised their hand? Yes. Staging. Oh, Mitch, meet stager. Okay, so staging is when you go furnish a house temporarily so it looks good in pictures. I've done that. I remember when we were trying to sell our house, we actually got a bunch of boxes from the grocery store and then put an air mattress on it and then made it with all the bedding so it looked like a really cool bedroom setup until somebody sat on it and flipped the whole thing. So they didn't buy. But, okay, so staging, cleaning. You have your whole crew here. Okay, what else? Who else can help Mitch? Okay, what was your business? Food emergency preparedness. Okay, good. So we have some startups in here. And the very first thing in a business, now this is going to go exactly opposite of what I said last KBF when someone said, what should I name my business? I said, who cares? The only person who cares about the name of your business is you and your mom. Now, that said, the reason I say that, and I'm quoting someone else at that, a lot of people will get hung up on their business name and their LLC and the whole thing. And there's people that will exploit that happily. You go online, oh, we'll help you come up with a name with our AI name generator for $29.99. And then we'll come up with oh, you need to have a logo. For $4.99, we'll come up with an expert logo for you. All of a sudden, you're $2,000 out into picking a name, having a logo, and your LLC is done, and you still haven't figured out what you're going to do yet, or have ever done it or made a sale. So, or people will get stuck, and they'll try, or worse, they've picked a name, and they're so emotionally attached to that name, it's their baby, and they cannot part with it, and it's a bad name. You know, it's just not, like we talked specifically on Sunday, I think, or the previous Sunday, I said, you know, so that we're going to go through a couple naming guidelines, let's call them, right? Okay, so naming guidelines. Number one, you want the name to be simple to understand. Okay, so I'm opening a coffee shop. We signed the papers yesterday. It was great. And on our sign on the building, it's just going to say coffee, as big as we could possibly make it. No one cares that it says Island Way Coffee or something. It's just like coffee. That's what people want. They want coffee. How many times you've driven by a shopping center and you just see hair? Okay, hair. Now, are they selling hair? Are they selling wigs? Are they cutting hair? Are they doing perms? Are they removing hair? Nobody knows. But you know, hair there. Let's go. And so it works, right? Now, when you get to the salon door, that's when you see Maria's Salon and Cosmetology for Finer Women, you know, registered, all on the door. But nobody really cares about that. Worse is when you drive by and you see a sign in a yard, and it just says something like Premier Concepts LLC. Wow. What did you do? Did you mow the lawn? Did you paint the house? Is this a bank? You know, you don't know. And so I always say, you know, if you can, have a name that's simple to understand, that people will know it when they understand it, and unless you're purposely going for vague. I've recently done this in one of my businesses. I needed a business that had an extremely vague name, so I picked, and it was miraculously available, Wholesale Distributors, LLC. Like, how did you get that name? Was the first thing my accountants asked. I'm like, I don't know, it was available. And then the IRS, no EIN number for you. your name is too vague. It's too, and then I went back and forth with them for months, and they finally gave me an EIN number. Then I went to the bank and opened the bank account, and I got a notice today. We're closing your bank account for money laundering and fraud things. We don't know what you do. Please go see your banker. So I have to go into the bank tomorrow and explain the vagueness of what I do on purpose. I'm like, it's simple. We wholesale distribute. What? Drugs to terrorists. They, windows to construction companies. What do you want? We'll do it. It's wholesale distribute. So in that one, but it was a very simple name, and it does explain exactly what I'm going to be doing with that. I'm going to be wholesale distributing. I'm going to be buying stuff and selling it. What? All sorts of stuff. And so in the name of your business, you have a cleaning company, and you bounced different cleaning names around, and you were looking for them. But the whole point of a business name is to be, okay, so in business, the number one thing, regardless, everyone talks about, you got to have team spirit, you have to have your culture, you have to have your mission statement. No, there's one point of the business, and that is to get money. Okay, we're not teaching greed, we're teaching get money. Ethically, legally, morally, according to the Bible, buy, sell, and get gain. But the point of business is to get money. No, I do it for the love of it. No, you'd be doing it for free otherwise. We do it to get money because that's what the point of business. And there's nothing wrong with that. So even when you go to the name part of your business, you have to ask yourself, is this name going to help me get money? Is this name going to help me make money? Is this going to be an easy advertisable name? Will people be able to figure out what it is I even do from this name? And so in that, when you're picking your naming of that, and when you do that, come up with several, right? So don't just settle on one. I've done that, and I've been sad. So pick, these are the top 6 or 7 names I would be happy with. So for step 1, make a list of name options. And here's a reason why we have several of them in your list. So your list of name options. Now, once you have your list of name options, the next thing that you're going to want to check is, can I get the website for this name? So the next list is going to be called domain options. Now, if I decided that I was going to open a Greek burger place, tzatziki sauce and onions and cucumbers on a nice burger, but it's not on a bun, it's in a pita, and we're going to make feta cheese instead of American cheese. This sounds good already. Some dill in the meat. And I want to call it after my best friend, Norman McDonald. I'm going to name it McDonald's. Okay. Well, I can't. I can't. The McDonald's.com has been taken, plus their lawyers would see me in about 10 minutes. No, it's different. It's a different bun. It's a different everything. It doesn't matter. So you want to find out of your list of business names, go see if you can find website domains of those. So there's been many times that I'll come up with a list of business names, and then I'll go look, and they're all taken. Okay, scratch the list of business names, come up with a new one, and then go back and see until you find, oh, look, I got some matches. Those are only 2 of your columns. When you're trying to find domain names, you want to be sure that they're searchable, right? That if somebody types it into Google, Google doesn't have to think too hard to find you. So when I was talking to Jessica and Brandon about their cleaning company, I said, please don't name it something like Crazy Clean, where they're both spelled with a K, because nobody spells clean with a K. And when you do, I got the domain name. Yeah, no one's going to find it. So try to at least in that have it be spelled correctly. Now we say that there's companies that have broken all the rules. Uber. What does it have to do with cars or rides or taxiing, and what does it even mean? But Uber means get a ride now, apparently. So in that, when you make your list of domain options, you want it to be searchable, and I really encourage you to make it spelled correctly. But then I wrote this note, make it spellable. So think, could the average person spell this? If you have premiumfinancialservicesextraordinaire.com, no one knows how to spell extraordinaire. No one. I don't. Is it 2 R's? Does it end with an E? Is it an A-R-E-R? No, don't. think anytime you're doing marketing, anything in business where people have to think, you ask yourself, can my mom or my sister do this? Is my mom going to be able to type in financial services extraordinaire without looking at something? And even if they had it right in front of them, what are the odds of a typo happening? So when you go domain name shopping, try to find something that's spelled correctly, spellable, not too terribly long. Have you ever had an email where you have to email somebody and it's like Tony.Utegaard at revivalministriesinternationalinc.com, and it all has to be spelled out? It's terrible, right? So you don't want that. Keep it short, simple as you can. Avoid, misspellings. And then also it helps in the search if the name of your domain has something to do with what you're doing. So, what's a word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of a word that has other words around it, but it's still one word. Something like coloring books. Okay, so if you had coolcoloringbooks.com as your domain name, well, in that domain name is the word coloring books, is the word coloring, is the word color. If you had cool crayons coloring books, again, that's too long, but in that, think about, okay, is what I do even in the domain of this? So I made a mistake. I love teaching from mistakes. We started a company where we made a pool table that looks like a car. It was made of a Ford Mustang. I don't play pool, and I'm not a car guy. So I didn't know a quarter panel from a fender for years. I didn't know anything about cars, and I still don't know how to properly set up the pool balls to play pool. I don't know what color goes where. There is a method to it. 15 years, I still don't know it. But in that, we started a Ford Mustang. I'm like, oh, cool. We could do other Mustang things because we got legal with Ford. So I'm like, we could do a Mustang foosball table. We could do a Mustang bed. We could do a Mustang ping pong table. I started thinking of all the entertainment kind of games. So I named the company Mustang Entertainment, Inc. Well, that had nothing to do with pool tables. And we bought MustangEntertainment.com. And then I got all sorts of weird phone calls. 2 in the morning. I got a client here. We're looking for 2 blondes. I'm like, what? No. We make pool tables. I'm sorry. I'm not trafficking anyone. Or worse, I'd be at some place paying for stuff. I'd hand them my card. Mustang Entertainment. I always got this. No, I don't dance on the weekends. I'm sorry. My wife, I'd sent her in to get her tires changed on a car where I always buy all the tires for the car pool tables. So we're under the account of Mustang Entertainment. It was also the shop where all the cops go to get there. They had the cop car servicing. My wife's in there. My wife's this tall, saintly, and short little blonde. Had the kids with her. And she's waiting while they're doing the oil change and doing the tires, and then got to leave it to good old Doug at the counter. Mustang Entertainment, your car's ready. Mustang Entertainment. My wife said she has never seen a cop whip around so fast to see who they were trying to talk to, in that they looked at her, looked at him, looked back at her, and realized, nope, it's something else. So I had to change the name, especially when we came out with a Camaro pool table. GM said, you may not use that name anymore, because, the arch nemesis between GM and Ford. And so I'm like, well, okay, CamaroPoolTables.com. But now I couldn't sell my Fords. So now I ended up with MustangPoolTable.com, Ford Mustang. And if you look at I've got like every kind of car, pooltable.com. But then it finally clicked. CarPoolTables.com. Our new company name is Car Pool Tables. Very short, very simple. Pool tables is in it, car is in it, all the kinds of cars are included, and so that's what I'm talking about with domains, is keep it short, sweet, simple as you can, easy to spell. So once you have your list of names column, names that you like and you'd be happy being called, and then you have your list of domains that could work, right? And you'll have several. You guys did, right? And so you had, we have this kind of cleaning, that kind of cleaning. These are all available. Real quick word on domains. I made this mistake again. Still have, a furniture company that does furniture for hotels. And hospitality is a big word to the hotel professionals. Like when you're going to stay in Georgia, you're not typing in hospitality lodging in Georgia. You just type in hotels. So to the user, you're looking for hotels. In the hotel world, everything is hospitality. If I'm a hotel owner and I'm looking for washcloths, I'm typing in hospitality washcloths because that means I'm the hospitality looking to buy them. So I started hospitality furniture, but somebody else had hospitalityfurniture.com. But they came out with a new ending called .furniture. Like there's .net, .org, all the different things, .info, .edu if you're a college. So I went and got .furniture, hospitality.furniture. And nobody could put those two and two together. Every single person I talked to, it's super easy. Tony at hospitality.furniture. Wait, hospitality.furniture.com? No, just .furniture. No .com? No, it's its own ending. What do you mean? So not the what about the at? No, you have to have the at. The Tony at hospitality.furniture, but no .com. And you're like, it is the .com. So do I put the .com? And I had this conversation with everyone to where I actually had to hire a professional voiceover person on our answering machine. Background music comes on. Thank you for calling hospitalityfurniture.com. Oh, no. See, I did it wrong again. Thank you for calling hospitality.furniture, a website so special we get our own ending. I tried that whole marketing blitz, and after a while, and this wasn't expensive to get .furniture. It wasn't like $10 a year. You paid way more. It's a special ending. And finally, I'm like, this is stupid. I didn't renew it anymore. I got rid of it because nobody thinks like that. Well, Tony, people are smart. They should know. They should, but they don't. And so when you go to type in your domain and you get some crazy suggestions, .xyz, .ccl, don't do it. Try to get a .com. If you're a nonprofit or a ministry, do .org. If you're some tech thing, you can do .net. People are like, I got .io. If you're not an Apple app, you should not have .io. Just try to get a .com because that's how people think. And the point of your business is to get money. Okay, so you want to make it as easy for them as possible. So you've got your list of potential names of your company. Now you've got your list of potential .coms. Even if you're a bank, don't do .financial. Notice Wells Fargo .financial. Nobody has that. If you go, it might bounce you into wellsfargo.com, but try to go with a .com. Okay, so now once you have those, you're like, all right, I got a list of 10 names, 3 of them are good. They match up with 3 potential domains. Now you're going to see if you're legally allowed to even have that company name. So the first thing, actually before third, there's a kind of a middle step. Go check to see if that name is out there already somehow, right? Just go to Google and type it in. Just Google Tony's Watches. If I'm going to own tonyswatches.com, I'm not, and start selling watches, and I say, hey, look, Tony's Watches, that's a great name. I love it. Okay, and then I go, hey, look, tonyswatches.com is available. Amazing. And then I go to the state, and I find out nobody owns Tony's Watches, Inc. But then I go to Google and just type in Tony's Watches, and there is a business called Tony's Watches, and it's the #1 most recognized watch sailor in the world, and they own watches.com. There's not, but I'm just using it as an example. I shouldn't pick that name. It's like, they didn't have tonyswatches.com, but they had watches.com, and they're like a megalith that everybody knows, right? It would be very hard for you to name your business Target, even if all you do is sell targets to shoot at. You're going to have a hard time with the Target company out there. So the government has a term that they use, and they call it brand confusion. So brand confusion is actually illegal, and so or market confusion. It would be like me having a burger place named McDonald's, but I only sell Greek burgers. They're going to say, no, you may not. I got Tony's McDonald's Burgers LLC. What are you talking about? It's the state of Florida right here. And it's McDonald's is the name of it, and they're not arches. I can come up with every kind of excuse. They're going to say, you are causing marketplace confusion on purpose. You will change it. And so in that, I have had friends who have done this on purpose. They found a competitor they wished the day they were be. They copied everything about them, their colors, their website, their logo, the name, minus just one little thing different. And then they got cease and desist letters from lawyers saying, you are causing marketplace confusion and you will stop immediately. And that was intentional. You guys would not do that intentionally. So, just kind of look for that real quick. If it's something very broad, like cleaning, you don't have to worry about marketplace confusion. If it's something very, very specific, that's when you'd want to really check on it. Okay, so then this last column is called corporate options for your names. Remember, right now, this is all just talking about how to pick a name for your business, right? So corporate options, if you're going to incorporate your business. Now, for everybody watching that's not in the state of Florida, I'm going to talk specifically about how the state of Florida does it. Your state has some version of this. And most of the time, it's extremely similar. Who here lives in the state of Florida? Okay, who here's business is going to be in the state of Florida or is? Okay, so the Florida, now if you typed in, incorporate my business in Florida, there's going to be 100 websites. The official Incorporate Your Business in Florida website. Click here. It's not. You're going to click there and they're going to charge you money to do it for you. It's a service and they've gotten really good at that. The official website is sunbiz, sunbiz.org. That is the state of Florida, Florida Department of Corporations website. Notice, it's not Florida State Department of Corporations.com. It's too long, it's hard to spell. They went with sunbiz.com. They kept it short, they kept it simple. I'm sorry, sunbiz.org. Okay, so when you go to sunbiz.org, there is a search bar at the top with a little magnifying glass. Do not go there. A little lower than that, there's another thing where it says, search records, and all these different things. There's one that's just search. If you click on that search or search records, and then it's going to say, well, what are you searching for? Owners, businesses, names, corporations, identities. Just click on name, and then put in the name of the business that you want to have. So, Jessica, you had, or Brandon, is it okay if I tell a little? Yeah. Okay. You did this, and you incorporated a name, and then found out later the state came back and said, you can't have that name, somebody else has it. Okay, what was the name? Made Clean. If you're going to be a maid and you're going to clean, Made Clean is great, especially for a Christian cleaning company. I've been made clean, all things are new. So Made Clean. Well, a lot of other people who clean also had been made clean. And so there was probably a Made Clean LLC, a Made Clean Inc., a Made Clean of Florida, a Made Clean, there was a bunch of them, right? I don't know if you pre-searched it or not, or maybe you kind of searched in the wrong area. Oh, you went in the search bar. Yes. So the state of Florida is like, nope, we're not anything about Made Clean. But that wasn't where you searched to see if there's corporations that exist. So if you have a name, Tommy's Sales. Okay, so you would go to, I know, I'm just, whatever. It is, yeah. You got to come up with a cooler name. But you would go there, you'd click search, and you'd search the company name and see if it's available. You're going to notice 2 or maybe 3 different descriptions after each company name. So I'm going to make up Made Clean. Okay, we'll just use that one. Made Clean LLC, Made Clean Inc., Made Clean Corporation, and let's just stop with those 3. Now, you might see Made Clean Inc., and right underneath that, Made Clean Inc., and right underneath that again, how many Made Clean Incs are there? But you'll notice the IN, is it INV or IN something, that basically stands for inactive. So if you clicked and you looked at the corporation, they had a Made Clean company, like 9 years ago it went out of business and they shut it down. Okay, and then somebody else had it, and they shut it down. So you're going to pay attention to the inactives, but if it's active, the ACT, that means, no, this is a business that is currently business now with this name and they're active. So when you see the active, you can't name your company that thing. Now, I'm going to take it a step further because I learned this the hard way. again. I'm like, oh, sweet. Well, Made Clean Inc. is active, but nobody has Made Clean LLC. I'll take that one. You used to be able to do that. Florida doesn't let you do that anymore. Marketplace confusion. So now, if somebody has Made Clean Inc. and it's active, don't try to name your business Made Clean LLC or Made Clean Corp. Because it's too close and the state will likely reject it. I just learned this lesson the hard way a few months ago. Wholesale distributors. I went online, it was available. Now there was lots of wholesale this, wholesale that, wholesale distributors this, wholesale distribution, wholesale a lot, but they were all inactive. I'm like, sweet. So I got Wholesale Distributors LLC and I registered it and it got approved. And then I tried to get my EIN number, which we'll talk about that, how to do that later, but when I went to go get, normally it's click, 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 fill it out in 5 minutes, you have an EIN number. The IRS loves to give out EIN numbers. Please, have one, pay us taxes. They said, no, call us. I'm like, what? So I called, I was on the phone with an hour. They had no idea why I was being rejected. Please fill all this out and fax it. Who has a fax machine here? You do? Okay, one. Nobody has a fax machine anymore. You have an actual fax machine at your house? You put the thing in and... You can fax, but you have a fax number. You have to have a fax number or it won't fax. Yeah, see, okay. So anyway, nobody has a fax machine. So I had to print all this stuff out and go to the UPS store and fax it. And then, I don't know if the IRS got it. Hopefully they did. And they like, come back in a couple weeks. I went back about every 3 days. Hey, UPS guy, did I get a fax? He looked through the pile, no. So this went on for a month. I gave the IRS more time, and then I called the IRS. Yeah, we never got it. Can you send it again? So then I sent it again, and then this went on, and then finally they said, you know, there's so many businesses. Now, I'm just thinking Florida now, but there's 49 other states. There's so many businesses that were wholesale distributors something, that to the IRS, they just see a list. Which one are you? I'm the Florida one. Which Florida one? There's been 9. The current Florida one that just got born. So I had to send them corporate documents and everything else, and then what are you going to be doing? Which category are you? And then, you know, they figure it out, and then I got my EIN number finally. So in that, when you're searching your records and you find the name you do like, make sure that it's not active or it's not almost the same name as one that is active. Meaning you can't just be an LLC or an Inc. different. So who knew you could talk for 35 minutes on how to pick a name for your business, but here we are. And again, name your name options that you'd be cool with. Find matching domains that are spelled properly and searchable that end in .com, and then go see if those corporate names are available. So it's kind of like, you know, in the movies, because I don't gamble, when they put the quarter in the thing and they pull the thing and they're like, ding, 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 1 set of cherries, 2 set of cherries, and you're waiting for the third one for the jackpot. That's what you're doing. Your first roll is the name, the second one is the domain, the third one is, hey, I can have the company. Then when you do that, and you can do all of that in one night, right? This isn't like a weeks and weeks thing. There's times you just, hey, God gives you an idea, wholesale distributors, and there it is. And it worked. And, you know, within 20 minutes, you had your name ideas, you found the domain available, you clicked on GoDaddy and bought it for $7. I have to mention something about that. And then you found the corporation, so then you could go in and fill out. Sunbiz is really cool in that you can actually register the corporation right then and there. You fill out all the stuff, you click the thing, you pay the $150 or $135, depending on what corporation it is. And at that moment, when you hit send and they take your money, you're not done. That's when you've told them, I want to be this, right? They didn't come back and say, okay, you can be that yet. So that you stop and you wait until you get the articles of incorporation filed from the state saying, okay, you can be that. The reason is, Brandon did that, and you didn't wait. And then you ran ahead and did a bunch of other stuff, and then the state came back and said, no. Oh, now you got to undo everything. And so I don't say that to embarrass you. I'm happy to help. And thank you for helping me with this lesson. So in that, you don't have to get really crazy with all of your articles of incorporation. They have it pre-filled out. The one box that throws a lot of people is, what is the purpose of your business? You can write this down. Any and all lawful business, period. And I'll explain why this is super important. Any and all lawful business. What are you going to do with your company? Legal stuff. What? Legal stuff. That's all you get to know. Mind your own business. It's my business. And the reason that you do that is if you put in, Wendy, hair styling and products, you could trigger a whole cascade of problems for yourself. Oh, really? We need to see your license, please. Are you a licensed? Where's your cosmetology license? Oh, and you're selling products? Can we please see your FDA certifications and clearances on all of what products are you going to be selling? Where are you getting? And you start a whole pile of mess that you don't need to be subject to at that time, right? And so when you do fill out your state corporation, any and all lawful business, blank, and just keep it very short and simple. And so anyway, we're still talking about now how to find the name. So let's assume you've passed all that. You've got your idea of names. You've searched to see the domain. You have it. Don't buy it yet. Just be ready to buy it. Then you find it in the corporations. You got it. You fill out the corporation thing. You wait 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10 days. Depends on the backup of the state and the time of year it is. And then they get back to you. I think, how long are they now? 3 days, Brandon? To get 4? To get back to you on the corporation? It was like a week and a half, yeah. Just to say no, yeah. Well, they get a pile and they have to go through that pile, yeah. I'm still waiting for the 1 week. And when did you file for that one? It's Tuesday today. And we met 8 days ago on Sunday. So it's been longer than that. Yeah. No, the new name, you just found it last week. So maybe 7 days. Okay, business days. Okay, so a week or two. So you're going to wait the week or two. And then like, oh my God, but what if somebody buys the domain? They haven't bought it in the beginning of the internet till now. You're safe. You can wait a few more days. And then once you have your corporate thing, you go buy your domain. And then you go get your EIN number. So the EIN number is very simple. On the federal government level, again, there's going to be a ton of businesses offering for money to go get you an EIN number. It's free. The government hands out as many as you want. And so when you go get your EIN number, you're going to go to irs.gov, G-O-V for gov, /EIN. And that'll usually bring you to the right spot. And if not, you just go to irs.gov. Very prominently on the first page, there's a thing. Get your EIN number. Because again, they want you to have it. You can click on that. And you'll fill it out. Now, this is another thing that when you fill this out, what's the name of your company? What state are you incorporated in? What are you? An LLC, an Inc., a partnership? And you're going to check those boxes. You have to be super careful not to tell them what you hope to be someday. Are you going to have any employees? No. Oh, yes, Tony, I want to grow. I'm going to have like 100 employees someday. Do you have any at this moment? No. The answer is no. I'm not going to have any employees. Are you going to be selling tobacco, firearms, or alcohol? No. Are you going to be in the gambling business? No. Are you going to own a truck over 20,000 pounds? I don't know. No. Because now, you're not lying. You can add any of these things at any time in the future, but if you say yes now, you're going to trigger a whole bunch of stuff. And I made this mistake on one of my early companies. I said, well, yeah, actually, I think I'm going to have about 10 employees. Yeah, I'm going to grow. God's going to bless me. And then I got penalized 3 months in. Just me, no money, maybe half a customer, no employees, and the federal government saying, you haven't filed your 941 employee payroll reports. We're fining you this. You're paying these. I've got no employees. You told us you were going to have employees. And so don't. Just no, 000, no. Okay, and then it doesn't mean you can't hire somebody tomorrow. When you do hire somebody, you say, oh, hey, by the way, IRS, I got an employee over here. Here's their Medicaid withholdings, their FICA, their Medicare, their Social Security tax, all the things. But if you tell them that at the beginning, they're going to want it day one. And then you're going to be penalized for not giving it to them or having to explain yourself. Same thing if you get Okay, so after you form your Florida corporation, one of the things they'll ask is, hey, are you going to be buying and selling taxable goods in Florida? Actually, they don't ask that now on the first page. No, that's a secondary thing. You have to bother. Like if you wanted a resale tax certificate, if you're going to open a store and you're selling stuff and you have to charge sales tax and remit the sales tax, if you tell them yes and get a sales tax ID number, which a lot of businesses do because it allows them to buy things without paying tax, then you have to start reporting. And if you don't, they fine you. I started a furniture distribution company 2004, 5, and I got my resale tax certificate. But I hadn't really done much furniture yet. And I didn't know I was supposed to do reporting. And then I get this astronomical bill, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the Florida Department of Revenue. Like, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say hundreds of thousands. You owe us this, risking jail. I'm like, so I went in, and the lady behind the counter actually laughed at me. She goes, it got you to come in, didn't it? Yes, it did. Thank you. How did you come up with this number? Well, you told us you were going to be selling furniture, and you didn't tell us anything else, and you haven't been reporting anything, so we just had to assume you're rooms to go. I'm not rooms to go. I want to be rooms to go. I'd love to be, but I'm not Kane's Furniture, rooms to go, city furniture. But all they knew is there's a new furniture guy in town selling furniture. He must be selling millions. So I did go in. She laughed. We got everything fixed. I had to pay my $50 late penalty for filing. But here's the thing. Every month after that, if I made no sales, I have to file 0. Otherwise, I get hit with a $50 fine. And so in that, you don't want to preemptively do things until you need to do them. When do you need to go get your Florida Department of Revenue tax filing number? When you have charged tax. And so, just, start, let's see, notes. Okay, I made this analogy. Inside us, we have a dream or a vision for our business, right? We have a hope and a dream, and I'm going to start this. My sister, she's going to have a booth out here at the Ladies' Conference, which is coming up on March 26th to the 29th, next week on Wednesday. And she started a business called Bougie Baby, which I'm like, no one can spell bougie. But Bougie Baby, and they're fancy little gift baskets, right? And my sister does interior design. She's very good with all that. And so they're really cute gift baskets. Like if you have a baby boy, it's got everything like perfect in there. The little rattle, the thing, the toy, the car, the socks, the onesie, and something for the mom. And, it's just like, and they're like $100 or whatever these things are. And they're actually really nice. Like she's getting huge traction on social media and everything else. But in her was that thought of, I want to do this, and they want to have a baby, so she's into baby things right now, her and her husband. And so so she started this business. So in her mind, she had this idea, she had this dream, I'm going to do it. What do I do? How do I get a website? So she started going through all of these little steps. But inside all of us, when we're going to have a business, we have that dream of us. Like it's like we're pregnant with a business. And I'm using that analogy on purpose. Well, when you do your incorporation papers with the state of Florida, that's when your company is born. When the state of Florida says, congratulations, here's your new business. You've been approved. It's your Florida documents here. Which reminds me real quick, when you go back and you're filling out those paperwork, there's a little check mark that says, would you like a certified copy of the thing for this much money? No, because as soon as they approve it, they give you one for free. So, you can just click it and download it. So that's your baby being born, right? I remember helping a Bible school student here, and he was funny, and he's back in whatever country he came from. And but he needed a business here, and we started it, and I walked him through the whole process. 10 minutes, we were on the computer, sunbiz.org, got it all done, hit enter. I think it was relatively quick approved. Sometimes it's almost immediate. I mean, within an hour, depending on the time of day and how busy they are. He got it, and he's like, wow, I'm a CEO now. He was the CEO of his company, of himself, with no money. He didn't even have a bank, but he was the CEO. So congratulations. It's just like right when you have the baby, you're the mom. So as soon as you're given that paper that comes, that's the birth certificate of your company. The articles of incorporation are just as important. So when a company is created, in the eyes of the government, it is a completely separate individual from you. If something stupid happens, they sue your company, not you. Your company has to have insurance, just like you have insurance. Your company is its own entity. Your company is going to be the one, hey, how much money did you make? Where's your taxes? And then if it can't answer or it gives it all to you, then they're going to come to you. Hey, where's the taxes you got? But that incorporation papers from the state is the birth certificate of your company. Then when you go get the EIN number, that's the Social Security number for your company. Just like a baby is born, and then you get the birth certificate at the hospital, and then they come back later. Quick, 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 fill out Social Security number. Taxes! And so then you get the Social Security number, or in business, it's called the EIN number. And so once you have that, now you can do the next step, which is go to the bank and open a bank account. The first thing the bank's going to do is go to sunbiz.org, click on search, type in your company name, and see if it's there. Then they're going to click on it and see, oh, yeah, you are incorporated. Everything's great. Do you have your EIN number, please? And you're going to pull out the piece of paper or the screenshot and show them your EIN number. I cannot stress this enough. Again, I learned the hard way on this one. You cannot lose your EIN number. The process, and I made this mistake, and I knew this. I mean, I've done dozens upon dozens and dozens of companies. In an attempt to have anonymity, I incorporated 3 companies at the same time in the same night. And they were all almost exactly named the same. And JRUF1, JRUFT, JRU Management. And I purposely had this company start that one and this company start that one at the exact same time. So that way it was a loop. If people were trying to figure out who had this company, who are they really, it was going to just end them in this spinning cycle of leave me alone. And by the way, you can't do that anymore. Very shortly thereafter, they passed the rule. What do they say? What's worse, breaking the rules or being the reason the rules are made? I wasn't the only reason. But in that, so I did it all. I did the thing. I got the EIN numbers. I had it all done. And then I realized I forgot to label which one went to which business. Called them. Hey, can you just double check? No, we can't give that information out. Just like I can't call the Social Security Administration and say, hey, I need Daniel's Social Security number, please. No. You got to fill out this paperwork, that paperwork, fax it, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh, God. And I did, and it was a long time before they were like, reissue the paper of this is your EIN number. So once you have that, take a picture of it, save it to your photos on your phone, email it to yourself, save a folder in your email and put it in there, put it on your computer, send it to your wife. Just that's it. That's like your Social Security card for your business. And then you register your domain name. And then since we're talking about those that are going to be just starting businesses now, okay, I almost hate to tell you this because I don't want anyone to hurt themselves. I always tell people start a business with no money. If you can start a business, start it with no money or the little bit of money that you have. Oh, I need to get a business loan for $100,000 to open up this. No, because it's somebody else's $100,000 and you never treat it the same as if it's yours and you're not as careful with it and then you blow it all and you still don't know how to do business. Now you're negative $100,000 in debt and you still haven't made any sales. But you do have a beautiful $40,000 website and a $10,000 logo. And I blew the other $40,000 on social media marketing, which always works. And so, that's why I always encourage people, try to do it with no money. Every single business I have, I started with almost no money. God will come through. God will help. You will learn how to do things extremely cheap. You will be getting 10 bids on everything from the first day. You will know, you'll be talking to people, how to friends, how to this and that. And so little things that you can do, like, I got to get a business line. If you call Spectrum or Verizon right now and tell them, I started a new business. Oh, great. They're going to sell you some $209 a month package, cable for your office, a fax number, a direct line. Oh, you need an 800 number. Everyone has an 800 number. Nobody has 800 numbers anymore. And they're going to sell you a whole package. You can go to Google Voice and get a free business phone number. And you download the little Google app. One of my what is about to be the company that makes me the most money ever in my life has a Google Voice number. Sorry, everyone out there. For free. And so you get that Google Voice number as long as you use it. I think it's at least once every 6 months. They don't ever take it away from you. If you ever wanted to really mature and move that to an actual landline, they'll let you. You can port the number over, but you don't have to run out and spend all that money. You get a Google Voice number. You can set up a website really cheap. If you don't have a website or I can't afford a website right now, great. Facebook page. A wonderful Facebook page. And that cool domain you bought, you just go in there and you click forward to facebook.com/Daniel Dawson's business. Okay, done. And now there's your business page. There's your web page. Your phone number's on there. You can actually start with almost no money or a few $100s, $1,000. Now, if you're in a business that you actually do need to have money, when you go in to open your bank account, with your brand new baby corporation, with its brand new birth certificate and its brand new Social Security EIN number, it doesn't have bad credit yet. So I learned this also just recently. I started a new business. I went in to open the bank account, and I'm friends with the banker. Always become friends with your banker. They should know your name when you walk in business, because you never know when you're going to be like, yeah, I lost my debit card and everything, but you have all my money. And so you want them to know you. So I walked in and he was like, hey, Rob, we got to open some new accounts. So we sat down and started doing it. Do you want to apply for a credit card? No, they're not going to give me any credit. Well, let's just try it anyway. Lo and behold, I have a company that's 9 days old with an $18,000 business credit card limit. I'm like, now that's the worst way you could possibly spend money, and you can hurt yourself really, really bad quickly. The last thing you want to do is be a month into business with a $1,500 a month credit card payment and then ruining your business's credit thereafter. But that is one way, depending on your business, if you're in and you needed some type of working capital credit to start. Recently, once I learned I could do that, I did it a bunch more times. Now, I haven't used those cards. They're all sitting there with beautiful $0 balances. They're there for an emergency, and I shouldn't even have admitted this because I'm against credit cards as a principle. But you might be in a business where you could use that. Let's see. Simple website, Facebook. Okay, so now if it comes time to Tony, I actually want a real website, please. You don't have to hire one of these $5,000 website people, $2,000 website people. You can go to a company called Fiverr. Fiverr. I love them. Have you guys seen the videos of the new atrium? Yeah. Do you remember the new atrium videos, the whole new development, everything that's going to be happening here? I found that guy on Fiverr. Now, he did not cost $5, Fiverr.com. We as Americans can forget that there's other places that also speak English and are also first world educated. So Fiverr, the first thing you're going to notice is a ton of the people there are in Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan. India is the largest English-speaking country in the world, and they're one of the highest, most educated English-speaking countries in the world, and they have the most millionaires and billionaires in the world. All these successful business, you go to the hospital now, it's all Indian doctors. They very highly value education. And sometimes it's hard to talk, and I love all of you Indians out there. Hi, Ankit. It might be hard to understand them when they say, compare against trademark regarding the patent to McDonald's, and you're like, what? But then when you see the email, good afternoon, dear sir. It is with great pleasure that we respond to your email regarding your further inquiry. And it's like perfect Queen's British English. It doesn't sound like it on the phone, but it actually is. So when I jump onto a place like Fiverr, you can find somebody on there. We will build you a website for $20. $20. Now, check their reviews. How many stars do they have? How many other websites have they built? They'll usually have examples. You can go here, here, and here. People give testimonials. $50, $100. It depends on the kind of website you want. You can pick their different things, but you don't have to go spend $5,000 on your first website. You can, for under $100, get an amazing world-class website built by brilliant people. And I used to feel guilty about it, right? So I had one of my businesses is construction and development. I had a set of blueprints done, all floors, for an apartment building. Okay, so who here is in construction? Ever been in construction? You know how much blueprints cost? An apartment building, 137 apartments, 3 floors with elevators. You're talking $100,000 for a set of blueprints like that. They did the initial floor plans and all the blueprints, minus the electrical and plumbing and things, for $600. I'm like, there's no way. And I looked, and I was thorough, and I'm like, and they sent it to me in CAD. I'm like, this is real. Like, do you know how much money I could make just charging people $100,000 for blueprints and having them do it? But you still need an architect in the U.S. The business ideas out there. There are business ideas out there. When we found the guy that made all this videos for us here, I had to feed him everything. We like this kind of rail. I'm on Google Glass rails. I look through hundreds and hundreds of glass rails. No, this kind. That kind of railing, this kind of thing, sketches. The building's this high, it's this way. Here's our site plan, here's our map. He was able to take all that, put the rendering together. No, the people are too tall. And you go back and forth a lot. I had to do a lot of work. But I did not have to spend $50,000 on a 3D video presentation. We did it all with the ministry for a few $1,000s. But when I got that $600 thing back, I felt guilty. I admit, I legit feel like I ripped somebody off. So I asked Ankit, Ankit, I paid this guy $600. Where is he? He's in this part. What city? This part of India. No, Tony, are you kidding? Rent there's $30 a month for a whole. He loves you. You just gave him enough money for a whole year. That's the same as you paid him $15,000. I'm like, good to know. And the guy did love me. And he kept, do you have any more work? I'll do more for you. And then I've just kept him busy every few months. He just got his master's degree in architectural from a university in India. So it's not we're dealing with just some guy in a hut drawing. This guy knows more than me. But there's professionals out there in the world where we can help them, right? I actually almost sponsored for him to come to Tampa because I wanted to get him into Bible school. But he needed to finish his architectural degree. But there's things like that. People will do websites. People can do logo design. We'll give you 10 logo designs for $5. Deal. And so there's things like that you can use. And that's one resource. If you're too proud for Fiverr, there's Upwork. It does the same thing, but everyone's more expensive. And yes. So I'm giving some good, useful stuff here. So number one, pick your name. Is it simple and easy to understand? Does it make sense? Does it have a matching domain? And is it available in the state? Yes, you incorporate it. You go get your EIN number. Everything is none of their business. And then you register your domain name, you open your bank account, and then I wrote here and I underlined, you go get your Google Voice number, you outsource what you can, and then you go do it. I've been guilty of this. My wife, who doesn't watch this, is exceptionally guilty of this. 12 years ago, I want a company. I have a dozen companies, and she's like, I want one. I want to do this. And I had just gotten out of our hot tub because I was relaxing for the evening outside and had to run in before the mosquitoes got me. So I'm standing there totally dripping, trying not to get all over the kitchen floor, and had my towel and shorts on. And I said, well, why didn't you ever say that? I'll get you a company. Opened the laptop, dried my hands, and within 20 minutes, she had a company. And now she's never done anything with it. We just keep renewing it every year, 12 years in a row. And I have to keep filing the corporate tax return and talk to my accountants. Yes, we've still not done anything. She's gonna. But some people will delay doing the work, and they think, well, no, I'm getting my name, I'm getting my logo, I got the bank account, and they'll do all this stuff to stall from doing the actual work of it. Right? And I've seen people in those holding patterns where they're just happy to be in the holding. I'm gonna someday watch. I'm getting this ready. I'm almost there. And you see them 5 years later. I'm gonna watch. You just watch. I'm like, just do it. Go do it already. Okay. I'd rather you go do it and not do anything we just said. Just go do it. We talked about that, right? If you feel like God's got for you a cleaning business and you're gonna get out there and you're gonna do cleaning business and now the state's stalled, and now you don't have your EIN number. Fine, go do it. They can Cash App you. I only take cash, please, or a check to my husband's name. They'll do it, but you know what I mean? You can go do it. So you don't want to use anything as an excuse to wait. You just want to get out there and go do it. That's the most important part of it. Go get the money. Go start the business. Start it rolling. Because business is a lot easier to do with money. It's a lot easier to run out there and buy soaps and brushes and towels and washcloths and buy the gas to get to the place. You can start a business with no money. You actually can, or very little to no money. A lot easier than you can start a business with a lot of money. And so I know it sounds dumb, but if you start a business with a lot of money, you got to get into all this stuff right away, and investors and investor reports and accounting and finance and accounts payable and receivables and all this stuff. And now the government, where did you get that $100,000? And it's just, and then you freely spend and you're not checking on things. And then when the whole business doesn't work, it's because too much money at the front can easily make us lazy and to where we don't try as hard. But every rich person I know, and by rich meaning hundreds of millions of dollars, not one of them was college educated. All of them failed out of everything, all of them. All my Greek friends, the one guy snuck over here as a 13-year-old on a boat, landed in New York City with nothing, and went to work for a guy at a restaurant doing dishes. Now, he's my hotel business partner. We built and own a hotel together. We're building a second hotel together. He's helping me with my third hotel. He owns a restaurant. He just built and sold another hotel. It took a while. It wasn't 5 years. He's 70 now. But he always, every rich person I know, that's their story. They came from nothing. They tried real hard. Who here has ever watched Shark Tank? I love that show. You have to remember it is a show. There's some TV-ness to it. I actually applied to be on there once and then backed out because I read the contract. Whatever your idea is, we own it. Wow. Number one. Okay, but then number two, I did learn a few things, and I hope I'm not breaking. I didn't sign any confidentiality thing. When they're coming in and they sit there and they give the pitch to the sharks, and that's why you need to invest $100 gazillion into these new socks, and I'll give you 4% of the company, whatever that pitch is, right? And then the person leaves the room and all the sharks talk about it, and then they come back out and somebody has picked. What they don't realize is when they leave the room, pause the cameras, about 6 months goes by. They go out there, they check out the operations, they look at the books, they see the thing, they touch and feel the packages. They're doing every kind of due diligence on this company first. Then they get back 6 months later back into the studio. Okay, everybody make sure you're wearing the same shirt you were wearing last time. And they make sure everyone looks the same, and then they continue with the show. So it looks like they made a $10 million decision in 30 seconds. They did not. They're not rich from being dumb. They went out there, they investigated everything, and then they came back and filmed it. Well, if they're willing to go that slow, and they have bazillions of dollars, how much more careful should we be moving forward? But what I was going to say in that is, the reason I brought that up, the one lady with the short blonde hair, I can't think of her name. What's it? Barbara. I love her. Yeah. So she does some other Instagram-y things where she talks and gives business advice and counsel. And I remember she was being interviewed somewhere, and they were asking, how do you pick who to invest in? And she said, I almost never invest in the people that came from money with college educations. She goes, if they came in here and they said, yep, I got this company, my parents helped me start it, I have an MBA in this, and I've already got this much money, and we've raised this much investors. She said she almost never invests in those businesses because they're missing a certain thing. She goes, but you get that person in here who made it happen with nothing. They created this thing from the ground. They're working their butt off. They're wearing messed up shoes. They're still they're passionate hearts. She goes, she'll invest in them all day long because she knows that person's going to do whatever it takes to make the thing work. The person with the business degree and the money from here from an investor, well, I guess it didn't work. Next business, please. It doesn't work like that. And so even savvy investors know there's something to be said for the person that's willing to put their all into it, make this thing work. And we even have an advantage in that we have the Holy Spirit. We have highly unfair advantages in business. God telling us exactly timing when, not yet. Okay, now, no, that's too expensive. Negotiate with this. Don't go with that vendor. No, not that partner. Not that customer. Raise your price. If we pray and we listen, the Holy Spirit will guide us in all of those things. And I'm going to give a quick, brief testimony. I'm wondering if I should give it now. It's so new. Should I let it finish first? Okay, I'll give most of it. Who heard me talk about coffee shop? I've never done a coffee shop. I'm Greek. I should have. It's in my blood, feeding and giving people drinks. My brother has 3 restaurants, a cafe. They're opening another thing, and that's his world. The most close I ever got to that was selling hot dogs at the end of the driveway during garage sale week. And I think we sold 3 and ate the rest. But I had a picture. Look, my first restaurant. had the grill going, and I'm too nice. Hey, you want a hot dog? Oh, no, thanks. No, it's free. Come on, have it. You know, and so, but in that, I was on Facebook, and you know how Facebook learns us after a while. If you keep clicking on little puppy things, it's going to show you all the little puppy things, right? Well, I find it interesting to see on Facebook Marketplace stuff for sale. Now it knows I'm looking for antique mirrors because that's all I see. But for a while, it knew I would be interested in like, oh, I wonder what kind of businesses are for sale. And there was this coffee shop that was for sale, and I usually ignore those, and it wasn't an attractive one. They wanted like $70,000 for this coffee shop. And I looked at it, I'm like, nah. Well, I don't know, maybe my sister and brother-in-law might like it. I guess we could get them a coffee shop. Nah, I just ignore it. Well, Facebook's like, oh, he looked at it once, he'll look at it again. So the next day, they pop it up again. And I'm like, no. Then it started showing me, oh, what about this coffee shop? Well, we got a diner over here. You know how they do it, the artificial intelligences. And so I just kept ignoring it. But then something, when I wasn't, I just kept thinking about that coffee shop. Like, I don't really want a coffee shop. I'm never going to sit behind a coffee shop and make coffee, contrary to my Instagram post last week. But I'm like, well, let me call her. And so what it was is I kept feeling this coffee shop. I don't want a coffee shop. So I'm like, okay, I'll call her. So I called the number. Lady answered. I said, hey, I'm calling about your coffee shop for sale. And first thing about buying a business, if you're going to buy a business, is you don't always have to just buy it. So I called her and I said, hey, so about your coffee shop, you know, I noticed it's for sale. What's the story? Because there was a story. Well, she had to move, and she actually had already moved. She shut it down and had left and was gone for good and moved across the state, 7 hours away with some medical things with her family, and she was done. She had tried it. She had been open a couple months, and she left. Spent all the money doing the build-out and everything, and it was so-so, which is why you don't take out loans. And so she had moved, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest. I don't really have a $70,000 spare just sitting around, but would you be able to take a down payment and maybe some payments? Well, no, I really need the money. And I said, oh, I know, but no one's buying it. So I'm not rude, but I'm nice when I say it like that. I'm like, well, just think about it this way. I'm going to tell you what I would do, and I always try to not be offensive to people, but I also put out what you really want, right? I said, please don't laugh at me. This is what I'm telling her, but I'm going to be honest. Okay, if my dream came true and you were my hero, this is what I would hear. Tony, you know what? Just take it over and split the profit with me for the first year, and we'll call it even. And if not, then maybe just do something small down, like $5,000, and I can go in and maybe pay you a couple $1,000 a month until the $70,000 is paid off. No, was the answer. But at least I didn't say it in an offensive way. I didn't, oh, your coffee shop is crap. I'm only going to give you 20 grand. I didn't offend her. She came back with I can't. And I know she couldn't. The machine that makes the coffee was 30 grand, and she did owe people and different things. And I was like, well, I can't. I wish I could, but right now I can't. Let me talk to my family and see, and always blame it on somebody else. And so then I kept thinking about it, and then we talked again, and then I said, okay, well, hold on some more. And then she actually did finally agree that she would take $30,000 down, which I was fresh out, and payments. And again, I kept feeling a no, yes, coffee shop, no on the deal. And we've talked about those lessons in here. And if not, you can go back on kbftampa.com and you can find a message similar to spirit-led business or hearing the voice of God in business. Like we've taught extensively how to hear God during decisions in business. And so I was doing that, right? I was doing exactly, is there joy? Is there a peace? Is this okay? Am I afraid? Never make a decision in fear, always follow the joy and the peace. I'm doing all of these things. Am I feeling pushed? Never be pushed, always feel led. The Holy Spirit leads. So I'm going through all that, but it was like, something was like no, but something was kind of like yes. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just go see it. So we drove and went and looked at it. And it was small. And when I say small, it was, see that exit sign? And that vent over there, the second one in the ceiling. It was that wide and maybe that long. It had like 10 seats inside. It was behind a bank. and it had almost no visibility, no frontage, and no parking. And then when you looked at the reviews, though, the reviews weren't the greatest. They were like, the coffee sucks, but it's our only coffee shop, so we like it. That was the gist of the reviews. So this is on an island, by the way. I need to mention that. And so in that, I said, okay, clear my mind, done. I'm not feeling stressed or pushing into nothing. If I was going to have a coffee shop, it wouldn't be this one. I'd want to be over there. That's where you need a coffee shop. Beautiful shopping center, beautifully remodeled, new, Publix, owned by Publix. The only shopping center on the entire island of 7,000 people, and the only shopping center on North Beach, Clearwater Beach, Sand Key Beach, Bel Air Beach, and all of Island Estates. 250,000 shoppers. So I'm like, if I was going to have a coffee shop, I would want it there. So I called my assistant after I left. I'm like, I forgot to actually go look. Go see if there's any spaces over there. So he drove over there and he looked and sent me pictures of the spaces. And then I called the broker, and there was a space that was perfect. Publix, the space in their building, and it was a mortgage company. It was well over twice the size of the other one. And I called on it. The rent was the same. It was the same amount per month as the little one. So when I said, no, if I'm going to have a coffee shop, it's going to be somewhere over there, somewhere nice where people can see it, and it's going to be not in this little ghetto thing over here. And so I went, and it was a ghetto little thing, which we'll get to more. So we went over there, and I called, and we started negotiating. Well, you would have thought I was trying to buy the shopping center. We need 2 years of all of your bank statements and all of your financials of you and your wife, and you're going to personally guarantee this. Oh, you have businesses? We need all of those too. I'm like, it's a lease. And it wasn't even that much. So I sent tax returns, every kind of thing that they need. And fortunately, it was like a beautiful year for me the year before. I didn't even know it was that beautiful of a year until I looked at the tax return. I'm like, wow, I don't know where the money went, but I had it. And so, you ever have those kind of years? Okay. And so, but the IRS is also wondering where it all went. And so we were going back and forth, and then they're like, okay, well, here's the lease. And I can't do a whole class on leasing, but you looked at the lease, and it looked great. We're going to start at this rent. We're going to go up 3% every year, and I'm like, well, hold on now, wait. This rent times 1.03 equals, that'll be the rent in the second year, times 1.03 times 1.03 times 1.03 times 1.03. I kept doing this for the term of the lease. I'm like, you're going to have me paying like $9,000 a month rent by the end of the lease? And I think they were glad that I was smart enough to actually do that. I wonder how many people sign these leases and don't even realize what they're getting into, because that adds up quick. And so all of a sudden, I went back, I would like it to be this, please. And we went back and forth, and then 2 hurricanes. But we were still in it. Like I had told them we were going to do it, and they came back with, you know what, you're approved. I'm like, well, I should hope so. My charitable giving last year was more than the entire lease of this thing for a year. It's not like I can't pay for it. I could just not give God any. I wouldn't do that. But, it's in the eyes of cold, hard business, they're going to be like, well, he actually could afford it. Even if I never sold coffee, I could just put it there. So anyway, in that, we were kind of finally approved, and then the hurricanes happened. The big flooding and everything that hit the beaches. I was one of those houses. We're all fixed up and living back inside. And so after the hurricane, a few days, I'm like, we should go check the coffee shop location. I'm like, let's go check it. So we drove, and it was perfect, dry, and I was kind of bummed. I'm like, I hope it got a little water, just a little, just enough to have the landlords have to tear everything out. So then we don't have to pay to do it. I wanted them to do the demo with the carpet and the wall and all the stuff, but it didn't happen. Not a drop got in there. So I went to the big, beautiful nail salon next door, nail salon and spa thing, and I said, hey, did you guys get any water? No, it went just about, I don't want to do my Vietnamese accent right now, but no, Tony, it was only up to here. It almost went into the thing, but we were only 1 inch. And so it came up the parking lot and almost to the top of the sidewalk, but it didn't go up that last bit and get into the space. I'm like, wow, that's great. Well, actually, you know what? We know we're safe. That's amazing. Then it clicked. I wonder how the other spot did, which was only a block away around the corner. Well, it was real deceiving to the eyes because it looks like everything is flat, but it's actually not. The shopping center we're in actually kind of comes up, and then the shopping center is there, and so all the parking lot grades down. So when we went and looked at the other spot, it had gotten water this deep. It was like chest. I mean, all the water was out. They had cut everything. Every single thing was tore out and demoed. And I poked my head in, and then the guy doing the demo, "Can I help you?" I'm like, yeah, I was talking to so-and-so about selling the coffee shop. I'm guessing that's off now. It's off. I'm like, oh, thanks. And then you just prayed about it. It's like, okay, that's why God's like, not that one, but yes, coffee shop. Not there, there. And so it's all worked out just beautiful, right? And so yesterday, yep, hallelujah for that, because that's just the middle of the testimony. So then, with that, hey, hallelujah, they said yes, we've been approved. We got to get money now. How much is this going to actually cost to build out and do the signs and the permitting? Oh, crap, we got to build another bathroom? We got to have two, a men's and a women's, and they got to be ADA. I'm like, what do you mean, can't we just have one? No, you have too many seats. You're going to have like 40 seats. You need 2 bathrooms. And so then we started doing the whole thing, and now Publix is like, so we said yes. You just need to sign the lease and give us our $25,000 deposit. You'll get it back in 15 years when the lease is over, but we need it. And I'm like, yeah, just give me a minute. I was fresh out of an extra $25,000 sitting around. Now, kind of. I have it, but it's not for that. You ever have money that's for something else, and it's very important for the something else? Okay, it was that. And so I'm like, okay, hang on. But I kept feeling, nope, do it. And so I'm here with Pastor Eric on Sunday night. We're talking, and he's believing God for some really big things if God puts it on your heart to help do. And so he was equally as messed up during the hurricanes as I was. And so he was like, Tony, I'm believing for this. I just barely have enough money for this, and that's enough to do this, and God's just going to have to bring in the rest. I'm like, Pastor Eric, I'm in the exact same spot. I'm signing a lease on a coffee shop, and I have no money to build it. And I got to be open in 6 months. I'll believe with you if you believe with me. Okay. And we believed with each other. What day was that? Sunday? Night. Yeah. What day is today? Tuesday? So yesterday. Okay, so yesterday I'm just like, okay, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. I mean, either you have faith or you don't. Now, I told all my kids and family this, and I'm not confessing this over myself. This is something I used to say. I might not always hear God say yes, and I might not always hear God tell me what to do next, but I always hear him say no. No, stop, don't do that. Like, we all have heard God say no, right? It's just like a parent, clean up your room. Hey, pick up your toys. But when they're about to run into traffic, hey! It's you stop them, and before they hurt themselves. So I've always heard a Holy Spirit no, right? We always hear God say no real loud, and we can rest in that he will always tell us no real loud. So I'm like, you know what? I don't really, I'm not being led by hand by an angel, but I just feel like we're really supposed to do this, and I'm just supposed to trust God and do it. And so, all right, we're going to do it. I got all my family together. We went to my brother's conference room at his office because he has one, and we brought the dog. And, we're all signing the 19 different places that need to be signed and the 6 places that need to be notarized and the other 8 places that needed dual witnesses. I'm like, I think I'm selling my soul to Publix here. I think there's a firstborn clause in here somewhere. But we got it all done. So we all get in the van, a minivan, and we drive to my brother's office. And I remember I had this thought that the Holy Spirit told me the night before during service. How rude of him to interrupt service. And he just reminded me, hey, call your client. Like, oh yeah, I'll have to call them tomorrow. And I had totally forgot to call that client until we were pulling up and sitting in the van, and my kids have been trained their whole life. Hold on, I'm on the phone. That means dead silence immediately. Don't even sigh. And so we're there. I'm like, well, you guys, hold on. I got to make a call. No, how did I say it, Nano? I said, sorry, Nathaniel. I said, hang on, I got to make a call. This is how we're paying for the coffee shop. And it just came out of my spirit. I said, hang on, I got to make a call. This is going to pay for the coffee shop. And I called the client. Hey, how's it going? Oh, great. Are you guys coming on Friday? Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, by the way, we are into March of this year. Have you guys figured out the 2025 budget yet? Oh, actually, we have. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we get this in writing. Oh, you got this many more. And this is a hotel client. We got this. I need you to do this. Boom, boom, boom. Get it over. We're going to send the contract and the whole thing. In that one phone call, in that project was exactly what I had been believing God for the money to deposit and build out the entire coffee shop. So then and only God can do that, right? Now, do I have it yet? No, but it's on its way. And so so we signed all the papers and everything, and I think it's tomorrow, no, Thursday, because you have your driver's thing tomorrow. So Thursday or Friday, I get to drive to Publix corporate offices and bring them the papers and their $25,000 check. And then we're believing God. Okay, the timing on the rest is going to come in. We're going to be able to, and I had made the mistake, and this is important. I had made the mistake of going, I need $100,000. Now, in the development world, that's a miracle to say, you're going to build a whole coffee shop for $100,000? That's like a $500,000 build out. Not when all of your family and kids are in construction. All the demo is free. All the clean out is free. Okay, and I told my sister who does interior design, price everything. I want to know, I want a list. How many tiles, how many bags of grout, how many gallons of what color paint. So she does that for a living. So she did the whole thing, and everything is there. And we figured that out, and my wife can paint. She painted her whole house without asking, outside. And I showed up one day, and she's on a ladder on the front of the house. What are you doing? Painting the house. We have people that can paint. We're a construction company. No, you said I could buy paint. Not for you. It was for the painters. I'm almost done. And she had painted the whole outside of the house herself. She's this tall. So anyway, herself. And we didn't even own the house. It was a rental. She just didn't like the way it looked anymore. It looked dirty. My mom was coming over. So mother-in-laws, they inspire. But in that, I kept thinking, okay, God, I need $100,000. I had budgeted it all out and figured out how to do this for $100,000. This much for the deposit, this much for the sign, this much for this much for blueprints, Indian blueprints, and this much for all the stuff that I need. And I had gotten it all figured out, and then I was thinking, I can't do anything until I have my $100,000. And God had prepared me a little bit before that. It's like, you don't need the whole $100,000 at the same time. You have 6 months to build it out. Oh, you're right. Whatever 100,000 divided by 6 is, well, 120, so 75 divided by 6, that's only like 11,000 a month. I could probably find 11,000 a month from somewhere. And I have this new credit card. No, but, okay. So in that, but then it occurred, it's like, okay, well, what is the first thing we have to do after the deposit? We got to cover the windows, because that's how you start construction. Okay, well, how much are those little graphic-y things where they put the big sticker on the window and it looks like this, right? Coming soon, and the thing, and I already bought the domain, I already got all the social media handles, because all that was free. I'm sick that the domain was like $9. So I just did everything we're talking about, right? This is like, I should kind of keep you guys posted on how this goes, the building of a business. But in that, I was like, you're right. I'm stressing out over $100,000 that I don't even need yet. How much is that vinyl thing on all the glass frontage of this thing? It was like $1,200. Okay, that's what we're getting first. What's the second thing we're going to need that's going to take the longest? The big coffee sign. How much is that? About $5,000. You know, the big, like, thick lighted letters, like the Publix sign. Okay, so, and then when you start phasing it out, it's easy to believe God for a little chunk of money, right? Well, I'm sorry, and I have to add this because God always seems to work this way. On Sunday, I did what I call panic giving. Anyone ever do panic giving? Panic sowing? Okay. And so it was Sunday. I had paid my tithes and offerings because that's what we do. Otherwise, you're not saved. And then we, yes, you religious devils. I'm just kidding. God still loves you. But he loves me more if I tithe. And so in that, we talked about it last week. You can go watch the video. But in that, so I did my normal tithes and offerings, but then I just really felt like God's like, hey, give $100 to that person. Let's Cash App them. Do over there. Like, what? And this person's on the other side of the world right now. I'm like, or almost. No, literally, on the other side of the world. Straight through the globe. And so I'm like, okay. And it wasn't big, giant, like, oh, I sowed 100,000. It was like $100 here, $100 there, and different things, and give it to that person. And so this, and it wasn't a tremendous. I mean, when you need $100,000, you're thinking, okay, well, 100-fold. That's God just had me do. It was like $500, 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, 100 there, and they were impacting to those people. They were out doing ministry things. One was not. But God said to give them $100, so I did. So that's what you do. And I couldn't figure out why. This was in the morning, daytime of Sunday. But Sunday night is when I had the conversation with Pastor Eric. Sunday night is when God said, hey, call your client. Monday morning is when I called the client. Monday is when the miracle came through of, oh, yeah, I totally forgot. Here's the project you need, and there's $100,000 in it. I'm like, oh, and that $100,000 isn't all at once. It's phased out over the months that I'm doing the coffee shop. So you see how God works in that. That's why no matter, in everything that we do, and I'm going to jump back to our notes, and so the name, Island Way Coffee. Why? It's on an island. The name of the road is called Island Way. Island Way Grill is right here. Island Way Pavers is right there. Every business is Island Way something. Why would I go into Antonio's Premium Cafe? You know, coffee. Island Way Coffee. Island Way is the address on an island. We're not getting rocket sciencey about it. The domains were all available. IslandWayCoffee.com. Oh, look. No one has Island Way Coffee on Instagram. No one has Island Way Coffee on Facebook or on. My kids are going to do all those. And then God even started giving me ideas. Like, you could pre-sell gift cards. During your 6 months of construction, you have your thing all wrapped pretty. You have your QR code hiring now. I don't know how to run a coffee shop. And I told my kids and my family, you're not figuring it out. We're going to go hire a professional coffee shop person. We have 6 months of resumes and interviews. Now hiring coffee shop manager, and we're going to interview somebody who's worked at Starbucks for 9 years, that knows what they're doing. And I said, you kids might be all the owners, but you work for her, whoever it is. And so in that, that idea had come. In that we could actually start doing the promotion, doing the advertising, have a big countdown day by day by day by day, and even start selling gift cards for people for the upcoming holidays. The nice thing about coffee is it's not expensive to make. It's brown water in a cup. And you might spend 20 cents making that $7 latte or whatever it is. I'm sorry, King's Arms. You got to pay the people and things. But so in that, there's just these little ideas that come up. And but in that, I prayed about it. What should we call it? Island Way Coffee. That's a good name. Let's just do that. Holy Spirit? Nope. Yep. Great. And you check in and you do it. And then you just be led. So we have those advantages. I didn't have to spend a month trying to figure out a name, and then a month looking for domains, and then trying to find the corporations and the whole thing. It just, no, God gives you an idea. You pray about it, you do it, you ask some wise counsel. I did ask a lot of wise counsel because I'm not nearly as brave as I sound right now. I'm super hesitant and almost not fearful, but not really. I'm just super, super, super slow and hesitant at business. And so I talked to my brother, I talked to my other brother, I talked to my mom, I talked to my mother-in-law, I talked to some friends, I talked to my business partner, and hey, what do you think of this? That's a dumb idea, but nobody did that. And I'm like, okay, well, I know what I'm feeling, but let's just get some confirmations. Is there some things I'm not thinking of? How do you get a permit to sell coffee? Is that a health department thing? Is that a restaurant thing? What is that? And so you just start asking and learning and knowing and talking to Tony Gears and, with King's Arms Coffee here, talking to another friend who's got a coffee shop over there. My daughter has been starting to sit endless hours in coffee shops, wanting to learn how to make all the coffees. And so in that, that goes back to what we said earlier, the go learn some stuff. But the biggest part of this is no matter what it is that you're doing, it's being led by the Holy Spirit. Step by step. And the Holy Spirit will stop you at the wrong moves. He'll stop you on timing. We've said this over and over in here. Most of the time people make a mistake in business, it's because the timing was wrong. I knew and felt coffee shop, but not yet. Not here. Not that one. Not yet. Why? Because 2 hurricanes came and knocked everything out, flooded the place out. I would have lost everything, been out $70,000, still owed her, with or without coffee shop there. That's my problem, not hers. And it would have been, no one likes to get hit and lose a whole bunch of money for nothing. And so, so in that, there is that, God might even give you a business idea, but then just kind of sit and yield and listen, move forward. God can only steer a moving ship. That's not in the Bible. That's my mom. God can only steer a moving ship. The Bible version of that is a man will plan his, A man will plan his ways, but God will guide his steps? Or it's the other way around. God guides the steps. A man kind of plans the direction, but then God guides the steps. I go, oh, look, coffee shop. And God's like, this one. Oh, okay. But at least I was moving. And so... So yeah, here we are, 7:37. That went quick. I wanted to do this very briefly. before I go into some quick questions and answers. And Zoom, get ready with a question or two. Let's talk to Wendy. Hello. Ooh, I like this one better. This is Wendy. Everyone give Wendy a hand. I'm going to give a quick little testimony of you. So you do hair. Yes. Can you come over this way? Okay. So Wendy does hair, like salon hair, right? Like what do you do?
Yeah, I specialize in balayage and hair extensions.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That. I don't have either. So I was impressed during COVID when it became illegal to do hair. You had a very creative solution for that, as everyone's gray roots were coming out and everyone was finally realizing how old everyone was.
I made hair color packages that you could pick up at the salon or I could drop off at your door.
Yeah, so for the ladies that needed to get their hair done but couldn't go to a salon because it was illegal, she had packaged perfectly exactly what you needed to do your own, because there must have been past clients and people that you knew.
Yeah, I knew their formulas, so they had to use it within an hour or two.
Okay, yeah, so it was
Right.
like really fresh mixed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My cousin has a salon, so I know too much about that. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, now, you've been doing this business for a while. How long?
35 years.
35 years, okay. So the you of now knows some stuff that the you of 35 years ago didn't know when you first started in this business. What's one thing when you were first starting the business that you wished you knew? Like when you were just starting your own business, your own salon. Now it's so normal to you. You're like, of course that. But when you first started, you had no idea. What was one thing that you wished you knew when you first started your business? You can think for a minute. Holy Spirit, remind me. What was that?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've always been so brave with business, or with hair coloring. Like everyone would be like, "You're just trying that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, okay.
I always put it on my chin. Yeah.
I guess, well, like you were saying with your hot dog business, like you were just giving away like hot dogs. Like I love doing what I did so much that I didn't really charge a lot for it in the beginning. I was just like, oh, I'll throw that in for you. I'll throw that in for you. You know, so no, I don't do that now. I charge for everything. But so because it's, you know, first you start off at a commission salon, so they're paying for everything and you have no idea what the costs are. But then as you decide that you want to do things on your own and you want to have like your own products, your own space, and you have to buy your own products and you realize the cost of everything, what it costs.
Just the cost of scissors.
Oh, yeah,
I bet
that's
you everyone
crazy.
here has no idea. My cousin had the scissor sales guy come when she was cutting my hair.
I have a pair of scissors that cost $1,500.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
She was looking at a $700 pair and a
Yeah.
$1,200 pair in the same sale. I'm like, you can get these at Walmart for like $3.
And I have like 7 pair. So
Yeah.
so because everyone does.
Everyone needs
different
a business tool. Yep. What was the most surprising thing that you learned once you got into doing it for yourself?
Surprising. I don't.
Like when you got into your own business, you're like, wow, I did not think of this. It might have been too long ago.
Yeah, because I just kind of fell into it. It wasn't like a thing that I thought about. I liked to do hair when I went to art school. I came here to go to art school. That's why I came to Tampa. So when I decided to do hair, it was just kind of another creative outlet.
So you didn't plan on doing hair?
No, I was gonna work. I was gonna be an artist. I came to Tampa to go to art school.
And I wanted to I asked that question on purpose. Most of the time in business, you're not doing the thing you planned. Most business people, especially the very highly rich, successful ones, they never were going to be that. It is just, it happened. There's an old Greek saying that my Greek partner says, Tony, they always say, you're not going to become rich from what you're doing. You're going to become rich from something else that happens because you were doing what you were doing. And so, you know, you came into art school and then all of a sudden hair, salons, custom colors, the whole thing came out of that, and you love it.
Yeah, I guess what surprised me is like how I just kind of evolved into like having my own business. Because I remember I decided to go to booth rental when my kids were young and I was working so many hours and I had like topped off. Like I couldn't work any more hours. I couldn't raise my prices anymore. And I'm like, okay, how am I gonna like make more money, not work so many hours, and actually spend time with my small children? So this guy I had worked with before kept bothering me. Come work for me, come work for me. I was like, what if I lose my clients? He's like, you could lose 50% of your clients and you're still gonna make more money than you're making now.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I did it, and then I got talked into like buying into a business, and I did that, and then that fell apart, and then I got talked into buying into another business, and I did that, and that surprised me. And so now I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with having my own business anymore, and having partners and having employees or anything. So now I'm doing salon lofts, and I actually am contemplating like having a brick and mortar and having like at least maybe one employee or like an assistant or something. So I don't know where it's gonna go, but God has like planted that's like the next step.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And let me see. I had another question here, which you actually answered the next two. See, you're in the spirit and you're flowing. Okay, so let me. What is an example of God guiding you in something in your business?
Oh, I've kind of been bad at listening.
All of us.
So
That's
like,
why we're God's kids.
yeah,
We're not God's adults.
Yeah. So I feel like I went back to South Tampa. I had been in South Tampa, COVID hit, and I was doing mobile hair, and then I wound up in Seminole Heights, and I think I stayed in Seminole Heights too long. I should have gone back to South Tampa. That's where I belong. That's where I like to be. So I kind of was like jumping in. I was in Seminole Heights. I jumped to another salon in Seminole Heights, and then I basically got pushed out of that salon because I think God was just saying, what are you doing? Go back. And so I did booth rental for a year at a place like an open space on Henderson Boulevard. And then God just felt me leading, because then he put that in my brain, like, go and open your own business. Because I have so many ideas of what I want to do, because I love hair extensions and color, and I want to help people that have hair loss. And so I need like my own space to do that. And so God's like, what are you waiting for? Like, just because you can't have a brick and mortar doesn't mean you can't step out and go do like the salon lofts, because it still is your own personal salon. So.
And how's that going?
It's good. It's good. It's a challenge. We got flooded. Oh. So I had remodeled. I had made my room so pretty, and then I had to throw everything out and start over and buy everything new again.
But you got all new stuff.
I did.
Yes.
And I actually like the room better. Everyone's like, oh, it's way cuter. We thought it was cute before, but now it's way cuter. I was like, okay, awesome.
I'll admit, after the flood and we threw out like 2 dump truckloads of stuff, I was like on a throwing things out spree. I'm like, let's get rid of it all. No more crap.
Yeah, Sam and I were having a little
we don't
mini
need this.
meltdown.
Yes, we do. No, we don't. Nobody cares. Throw it away. So,
we were dragging the dresser out, and it was falling apart as we were like taking it to the dumpster.
And then you realize how not valuable everything really is. Here, photo album. That's it. Everything else doesn't really matter. So just looking at everybody here, and there's many that want to do their own business. If you had to give just like one word of advice, what would it be?
I mean, just do it, like you said. Like, the no money thing is fine. Like, when I left one salon, I just had falling out with a partner. I left. And then the girl I had been working with at that time, she's like, you're going to open a salon with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And she was like, no, we're going to do it. All we need is like $1,500 for all the licensing, to get the deposit, to do everything. I just want you to help me with the cost. Let's do it. We basically started out with like 3 craftsmen's. We bought like the stand-up mirrors, 3 chairs. We finagled all kinds of deals. My girlfriend had shut her salon down, and she needed somewhere to rent. I said, sell us your shampoo chairs, and I'll like give you a super great deal on the rent for like a year. And so, so we basically, we started a whole salon for like $3,000.
Okay, she started a whole salon for $3,000.
Yeah.
Yes, that goes right back to what we were saying earlier. I helped someone with a salon. that went and bought it for $35,000 and then dumped $50,000 into the remodel and then did the whole thing. And then they realized they're not a business owner or manager. They were just good at doing hair, and then they would lose employee number 1, 2, 3, until finally it was just them in a salon with like 6 chairs and 4 wash stations, and they're like, just give me my own salon.
Yeah, because we added more stations later.
Yep.
We added decorations. We basically, we didn't even have a couch. I think we borrowed chairs from our houses and put it in the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you have a couch?
Then we got a couch. Then we got, and actually our clients gave us, some of my clients gave me stuff. This guy, I'm going to bring you my big red couch. I was like, okay, perfect.
I'll cut your hair tomorrow for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you for being brave to come up here. Everyone give her a hand. And I was going to do that a few more times, but you know what? It's almost 8. And we can just stop there. But I hope that this was valuable. And I wanted to do this real quick. So Zoom. Does anyone on Zoom have a question? Is anyone on Zoom? Tony, they all logged off a half an hour ago. They were falling asleep.
This is a good question. They asked, Caleb Cardell asked, when do you need insurance in business?
Very good point. When do you need insurance in business? And I'm actually in the process of doing that right now for the coffee shop. In the coffee shop situation, they want the insurance the moment that the lease is signed or they don't give me the key. So it's going to be different in different kinds of businesses. But usually, my suggestion is just start. And then when you have money for insurance, get insurance, unless you're in a required where you have to have it. And insurance for a business that's just starting is generally very cheap. And so when I started, half of my companies, the insurance for the year was like $500. I don't have $500. It was $38 a month, or whatever it is, $45 a month. You can go month by month, right? You don't have to pay the whole year up front. The coffee shop insurance that we just got was, I want to say it was $2,200 for the whole year, maybe $2,900 for the whole year. And in that I had to put, we're probably going to make this many hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're probably going to have this many 6 full-time employees. Like I had to, the more information you give them and the more big you say you're going to be, the more risk it is to them, the higher your insurance is going to be. So if you're just starting your business and you have no customers yet, you don't have to tell them that you're believing God for $1 million in your first year, because they're also going to be believing God for you. You need to tell them, well, I'm not quite certain, 50 grand? Okay, well then when you start to get to 50 grand, to call them, hey, by the way, my business is doing really well. I'm on month 2 and I've already hit 50 grand. Why don't we put it up to like 200-300? Then you go some more. And then if you're wrong and you forget to call them, everybody does, you get to the end of the year, they do what's called an insurance audit. How much business did you do this year? $400,000. You told us you were going to do 50. Yeah, I did really good. Great. You owe us $3,000, or whatever insurance you were supposed to be paying, which I never understood because I'm like, but nothing happened. So why would I pay premiums on something that could happen that never did? But you never win that argument. But anyway, so when you get insurance, the other time you really want to consider it is if what you're doing has a really high risk to it. If you are starting an auto detailing business and you're going to go do exotic cars, you don't touch that car until you have insurance. Because one piece of sand on your rag across the hood of that Lamborghini, and you're paying for a $10,000 paint job. And so in a business like that, you just reach out to different business brokers. If there's a lot of risk to you, then you pretty much want to get it right away. But it is cheap. You can get it pretty cheap. Question 2, Zoom.
Okay. Bianca asked, how do you go from 1099 to hiring people?
Good question. I have to answer this the legal way. So a lot of people are like, sweet, if I just hire people 1099, I don't have to pay taxes. And the IRS has rules about that. Someone is going to pay taxes, you or the employee. And the only way so a 1099 is what's called a 1099 independent contractor. So Mitch, let's just say you paint houses. And I have a business, and I say, Mitch, you're going to paint all my houses. Now, do I put him on an hourly paycheck? as a W-2 where some money comes out for his taxes and I pay money for his taxes? That's a W-2 employee. Or do I just write a check for $3,000 because he painted the house? You charge way more than that. $15,000 because he painted the house. And he's a 1099 contractor. I'm not taking out any taxes or anything. I just gave Mitch $15,000, and the IRS is going to be great. Mitch, pay our taxes. Now, where the IRS looks at the difference is if Mitch actually isn't completely controlled by me, right? Mitch, you will be at my houses 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday, and this is how much you're getting paid. And I'm all he does is my work. He's an employee at that point. And the government's going to say, hey, this is an employee, Tony. You're just trying to dodge taxes by giving him chunks and calling him a 1089. But if Mitch actually does work for other people as well, then he is truly independent. So the word is independent contractor. And there is a scale for that. So if the person is not independent, they're only working for you, that's reason number one, they have to be a W-2 employee. If they have to be anywhere, ever, at a time that you tell them, they are a W-2 employee. Mitch, can you paint my house by next Thursday? Yes. Done. He's a 1099 contractor. Mitch, every Thursday at 9 you'll be painting one of my houses, right? Yes, sir, Mr. Tony. Now he's an employee of mine on Thursdays because he's not controlling his own schedule. He's not truly independent. So that's the answer. So if the person that you're working, there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of businesses that truly have all 1099 contractors working for them, a sales organization. They got sales guys out knocking doors and doing this and running over here and doing things, but they only do it if they feel like it. And they do that, they can get paid 1099 because they're truly independent. They might sell solar things over here and cars on the weekend. They're truly independent. But if I have somebody and say, no, listen, you're my sales guy. These are the appointments. These are who you're going to go talk to. This is where they are. And your appointments are at 9, 3, and 6, Monday through Friday. They're an employee now. But they get paid commissions and hourly. So you're going to change it around. You're going to fix it up and back it out. But the IRS is very specific about that because, and just think of all the people that try to dodge taxes. Oh, I don't pay my guys $10.99. I just buy them Visa gift cards at Home Depot. That counts as pay. So I hope that kind of answers the question. Miss Bianca? One more?
Yeah, we can do one more. Which banks have you found to be most friendly with a new business to open a checking account?
Okay. I have prejudices and bad attitudes about banks. Bank of America should not be. They are okay for people, but barely at that. They don't have drive-thrus anymore. They close at 4. They've become, you go out, this have Bank of America, it's not even a person there. It's a bunch of automated teller things. So you always have to think of a bank as they have all your money. And will they be nice enough to give it to you when you want it back? And so I use Wells Fargo. Now, other people hate Wells Fargo. They're the crookedest. I've been with them for 20-something years. I have probably 50, 60 accounts at Wells Fargo. I've not really ever had a problem with Wells Fargo. They've been fine to me. And then again, any banker that you work with, you want to get to know them inside the bank. Your app doesn't care about your feelings. Your teller, all that. You need to get to know someone in the bank. I purposely go in and most of the time hand deposit things still. I walk in, every banker in that branch knows my name. Oh, hey, Tony. I'll bring them chocolates at Easter. I'll bring them something at Christmas. But then when I'm stuck in New York and my wife ran out of money and I need her to go to the bank and pull money out of my business account, and she's not a signer, and it's totally illegal for anyone to help her, I can call, hello, thank you for calling the bank. I'm not going to confess it's Wells Fargo. Hello, thank you for calling the bank. Oh, hey, Mary. Oh, hey, Tony. That's the conversation. Hello, thank you for calling the bank. Hey, Mary. Oh, hey, Tony. She knows my voice. Hey, Mary, can you help me with something? I'm stuck in New York. I forgot to put money in. Everything here is closed. My wife needs $200 for groceries. Can you just please take it out of my business account and give it to her? Okay, yeah, just tell her to come and ask for me. Click. Done. Everybody in that circle could have gotten fired. But she knows me, and she has all my money. So you want to get to know your bankers very, very well. My wife was able to walk in. Mary knew her. Mary doesn't work there anymore, so she's safe. And went and gave her the money. and pulled it out of my business account, did the whole thing, and sent me an email of what was done. And so, yeah, so when it comes to business banks, Wells Fargo's pretty good. You want to look for fees. Most banks now have some sort of monthly fee. Just make sure that the minimum's is the minimum balance $500 or $50,000? You want to make sure you pick one that works. And then I've recently had a fun conversation with Chase and Fifth Third. I was trying to figure out how in the world all my Juan Fernandezes with the same social security number have Chase bank accounts. And some of these banks are super lenient, and I'll just leave it at that. You can walk in, my name is Pedro, and that's all they're going to get. No social security number, no birth date, no nothing, no ID. Here's a bank account, Pedro. And I'm Pedro's painting company. Like, I have a friend, he's here illegally. We need to change the rules. He needs to be made legal. He's got like 80 employees. He has a whole company and everything, and business bank accounts, everything. Like, how? You have no social security number. My bank won't even talk to me without my physical ID, and they know me. Sometimes if I go into the wrong branch, right? But so some banks are going to be easier. I've heard Chase is really good with businesses. And Wells Fargo, depending on your business, I always advise going with a bigger bank. Orange something or another credit union is nice in that town, but if you have to do a wire or somebody has to wire you and it's got to go through an intermediary bank to a second, it becomes very complicated and messy. So if you can, kind of stay with a big bank. That's my advice, my personal opinion, not necessarily endorsed by Revival Ministries International or Dr. Rodney Howard-Brown. Okay. Well, thank you. Anyone in here have any questions? Yes, ma'am. You just moved here from Indiana?
We just moved here from Indiana. We have a construction business. It's still operating in Indiana, but we're trying to get started here. We moved here because we had a client, so we've been working that, but I also don't want to get in trouble with, I know that you need to have a GC license here. We have one in Indiana. But I also want to know what else do we need because, to get registered and all that, we already have that in Indiana. I don't know if we need to do something different here in Florida so we don't get in trouble for anything. And so does that...
I would do this, and this is an industry I really know. Don't tell them your name, but contact the DBPR, the Department of Business and Professional Regulations. They govern the contracting world here in Florida. So if you contact the DBPR and just say, hey, we have a big construction company for this many years. We're very successful. We're out of state. We're moving to Florida because we love it here and we love you. And how do we do this? And they will let you know. Now, Florida has one of the worst building codes in California, in that most other states' contractors, when they come here, their license doesn't work because they don't know. I mean, I didn't understand. I came here, I was building a house, big multi-million-dollar house for a client, and they're like, oh, you got to have a column here. And I'm like, why? The roof's going to hold up just fine. I'm from Minnesota. That'll totally hold 4 feet of snow. And they're like, no, that's not the problem. It has to hold down, Tony. We have to hold the roof down for when the storm. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. All these little metal straps over every little thing, like nailed down to the floor. And like, no, we got to hold ourselves down in Florida. And so that was new for me, right? And so in that, it's hard to transfer some licenses from other states to Florida. You might be able to transfer most of them, but you might have to take some tests. One way to get around that is to find a GC here that will let you work with them. They're legally allowed to extend their license over to you. And sometimes they'll do that for a small fee. And then, after you've worked for 2 years, you can go to the DBPR and say, hey, I'm a contractor. I've worked under this GC for 2 years in the state of Florida. I've met all the requirements. I have this company. It's this many years old. Give me my license. And then you're working with a GC now like that?
Yeah, we're working underneath them, but I don't know if there's they send us work orders, right? So
yeah.
But I don't know if there's other paperwork that needs to be filed. And you're saying it's usually 2 years before we can apply for the license?
Well, if you didn't want to be with him anymore and just be yourself, you would have to have a Florida license for that. Yeah. So then you just make sure that you don't be wasting a bunch of time for 2 years. Call the DBPR and find out exactly, here's what we're going to do. What's your name? I'll tell you later. Here's what we're going to do. How do we do it and what the steps are? But a lot of people do. I mean, Florida's all other people from other places. So, except my kids. My kids were born here. Yes, sir.
You talked about GoDaddy, and you said I'll talk about that later.
Oh,
but
GoDaddy.
but you didn't.
Thank you. And somebody asked me a FinCEN question. I'll touch upon that too. Okay, when you buy a domain, and I was just talking about this with my website guy on the way here driving. Network Solutions is notorious for this, as is web.com. You'll buy mitchespainting.com for $9. Yay! And it's going to renew next year, auto-charged automatically, for like $20. They only give you a discount the first time. Great. Well, then all of a sudden I'm seeing my debit card with $189 worth of stuff on it. I'm like, what is all this? Oh, well, when you bought mitchespainting.com as a gift to you, we also gave you mitchespainting.info and mitchespainting.xyz and mitches.painting. And now they've all renewed because you didn't cancel them. And then you're like, what? Wait. And so you really want to, when you buy a domain, just make sure that all the other boxes are unchecked, that you're not buying things you didn't know you're buying for free that they're going to hit you with later, or that there's some weird auto, all of a sudden you're starting to see a $50 charge a month on your card. What's this? Oh, that was the web hosting. The first month was free. I didn't want any web hosting. So that's what I meant by when you buy a domain, just be really careful about all those little fine print checkbox things. And then, thank you for reminding me, FinCEN, because I still get asked this every day, the BOI, that beneficial owner of interest paperwork for your companies. If you don't know what that is, great. You don't have to. It's over now. And so that has been declared many times by judges as completely unconstitutional. It violates 4 constitutional amendments, and we don't have to do it. And I wasn't going to do it anyway. I'm like, come, arrest me. I want to see what uniform is going to show up at my door. The bank? The IRS? Who is coming? Who says you didn't fill your BOI paperwork properly? And so, the 86,000 IRS agents that never got hired. And so what it was, though, is it kept going. The courts would declare it unconstitutional. It would get struck down. Then somebody else over here said it wasn't. Then it was, and then it wasn't. It just kept ping-ponging back and forth. If you've followed me on social media, I actually had an alarm. I would check it every single day and give everyone the update of where we were now. Well, it was about a week ago, President Trump put a major rant out about it on Twitter. We are ending this BOI nonsense once and for all. It has been a blight to... I should read it. It was really nice. Finally, somebody smart agreed with me. And... sorry, just humor me for 1 minute. I don't often quote the president precisely. See if I can do it in his accent. Exciting news. The Treasury Department has announced that they are suspending all enforcement of the outrageous and invasive beneficial owner information BOI reporting requirement for U.S. citizens. That's the part that jumped out at me. Why is it not being applied to U.S. citizens? Because it's unconstitutional to do this to U.S. citizens. This Biden rule has been an absolute disaster for small businesses nationwide. Furthermore, Treasury is now finalizing an emergency regulation to formally suspend this rule for American businesses. The economic menace of BOI reporting will soon be no more. Who commented on it first? The Treasury Department. The Treasury Department is announcing today that with respect to the Corporate Transparency Act, not only will it not enforce any penalties or fines associated with the BOI reporting rule under the existing regulations, but it will further not enforce any penalties or fines against U.S. citizens or domestic reporting companies or their owners after the forthcoming rule change takes effect either. The Treasury Department will further be issuing a proposed rulemaking that will narrow the scope of the rule to foreign reporting companies only. They have until March 21st to do this, which is 2 days from now, 3 days. So now, if they tried to pull some nonsense in 3 days, you didn't report, we're fining you. They can't. This is all over the media. They put it out there. So it's over, and I'm so glad about that. Okay, one more. Very last one. Who gets to be the last question? Who's going to go start a business? Okay. You ready? Did you get your name? Mop and Roll. M-O-P. And? Oh, the N. Mop and Roll. Like rock and roll? And what's the domain? mopandrollcleaning.com.
So that the cleaning is in the thing.
So the cleaning is in there. Okay,
Yeah.
mopandrollcleaning.com.
Yeah, and it turns out there's one. Where was it at? because I looked it up. So on Instagram, there's someone in Virginia that came up with the same idea.
Mop and roll?
But not in Florida.
Not in
So
Florida. Well, you're
there's-
good. I mean, are they big?
How
How many followers do they have?
I didn't check. Hand. Let
If
me
they have
look.
like 9, it doesn't matter. If they have 90,000,
It's not 90.
okay.
It's not
Then you have.
90,000. I could try to find them again, but
Wait, I could find a mop and roll cleaning.
yeah.
Phone break. Everyone look at your phones.
Oh, they have 66 followers.
Perfect. The odds of them coming and suing you for taking their name are slim.
Okay, wonderful.
Unless you expand to Virginia.
Okay. Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. Are they
Oh.
still in business? When was their last post? You guys are learning something
oh, sorry.
firsthand here.
Okay, so their last post, let's see. How
So
do you
when was
tell-
their last post on social media? Is there a date? If you go to their Instagram page.
January 12th.
Of this year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so they're kind of still in business then.
January 15th.
15th. If
Yeah.
you had looked and their last post was in 2019, then you're also very, very safe.
Okay.
And that's when I would reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed you don't really do this anymore. Can I please have your Instagram handle?
Yeah.
And I've successfully gotten handles and websites off of people that way. That's how I
Really?
got carfurniture.com
Okay.
for $300 from a guy in Ireland. So carfurniture.com. You know what I could sell that domain for now? 5 digits, easy. Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you, Heavenly Father God, for letting us have fun tonight, Lord. Thank you for your guidance for every single person here, Lord. Let every single person here not make any mistakes. Let them only do and follow the plan that you have for them and their business, Lord. Give us ideas. Give every single person here ideas, Lord. If they're trying to come up with a name, show them the name, Lord. Give them witty thoughts for their domains. And as you have promised, Lord, that you make even our enemies be at peace with us, God, that any entities out there that have to be dealt with, be they IRSs or state governments or permitting departments, whatever it is, Lord, you make everything work together for the good of those that love you, Lord. You give us favor. You surround us with favor as a shield, Lord. And we stand in that now in our place with you, God, as an enforcer and an advancer of your kingdom in all areas, even in business, God. Thank you for your anointing on what we do, that you bless the work of our hands, that as we are diligent, our hand prospers. Whatever we put our hand to prospers, Lord. We thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.